Okay, so I picked a few points around this region, and I'm going to go put them in the calculator to make a little wrap around the unicorn's horn. So these are the 3 points I picked. We're going to go to Stat, the button here. You're going to click it once. And we need to edit, so we're going to hit Edit. And there's some stuff in there. If you've used this before, if you had your calculator from somebody else, some stuff. I want to clear it. I go up to the very top and I hit Clear, and then I hit Enter. Clear, Enter. And then I'm going to type in my L1, so 6.4, 6.62.5, and then my Y's. All right. So once you have those typed in, now we're going to tell our calculator what to do with them. So you're going to go back to Stat, and this time we're going to calculate. So we're going to go over to Calc, and starting at 4, there are lots of different regression features for linear regression. So between 2 points hand. We're going to do quadratic regression, number 5, but there's cubic regression. I don't know what 8 does. It's some other line, but I don't know what it does. Number 9 is natural log, which we haven't studied this year yet. And then number 10 is exponential. A is power, but I don't know what power that is. There's sinusoidal, or sine. Okay. So I'm going to do quadratic regression. Depending on your calculator, you may have the screen, or it might look a little different if you have an older calculator. But what the screen is asking me is if I want to do it between list 1 and list 2, because you can really choose whatever list you want, and that's what I want my X and my Y to be. So I'm just going to hit Enter or hit down. I'm just going to hit Enter a bunch of times until it does something. And then it gives me the equation it's put in for A, B. Did anybody have any trouble when they just tried it themselves? Anybody got any errors? You did. Oh, okay. So we can do it with L3, L4 go, and then I'll figure out what comes back for you. So you just have to see L1 is like how it goes. So you have to hit second, and then whatever L3 and L4 are. Yeah. Anybody else have an issue? You have an issue, or you just have a question? It has to do with honestly, I don't know what it has to do with on this one, but on like linear regression, it has to do with how accurate data fits into the line. It's more statistical stuff, and I don't know what the R-squared is because I've never had to use it. Okay, so I'm going to use this. I'm not going to see anymore, and I'm going to type it into Desmos. If I could do that without things. Okay, so I'm just going to add in another equation. It looks like I rounded it like 3 decimals. Doing less than 3 decimals, it's potentially going to be off, but like you can do as many decimals as you want. I'd say 3 decimals is probably the minimum of what you'd want to type in there just for accuracy. But I'm literally copying them off my calculator, so it's not a big deal until I type them in wrong. If I type them in wrong, you guys let me know, okay? Okay, so I have the blue line, and that looks pretty good. I mean, it might be a little bit curvy over here, so I could always go back. If I think it's too curvy, I could always go back to my calculator and maybe change that third point that I had in there. But it's pretty good. Now I need to stop the graph at this ordered pair. Do you see when I have two ordered pairs, when I have two graphs that overlap, I can click on it and it stays there. I also need to stop the graph here. So I'm going to add in what's called domain restriction. I didn't write those down. I'm going to add in a domain restriction that puts my x values, that puts my x values going from 6.4 to, 6, wait, which one connects? Well, this must cross through twice. I don't think I picked the best values. Anyway, goes from 6.4 to 6.601. And then looks like I'm doing orange, so I better change color. Okay, maybe not my best stripe, but now that was me explaining everything. It really does not take that long to do it yourself. If you want different shapes, maybe you don't want a parabola, you saw there were other things under there. If you are at home a lot and you're like, I'm getting through this, I'm going to start it early, and you don't know the hyperbola form, there's this awesome thing. It's called Google. It's so cool. If you type stuff in there, stuff comes up. For real, you should totally check it out. There's another website that like gives you videos about anything too. I forget what it's called, but it's really cool. Yeah, well, they didn't when I was growing up, but so there's hyperbola standard graphing form, and then so you guys can see what hyperbolas are going to look like. And then the other thing that we haven't covered that's in your project, I don't know where I'm going. That's in your. Ooh, that looks fun. Demonstration of a hyperbola graph. Sorry. Anyway, there's stuff about hyperbolas in there, so you can figure it out on your own if you want. You don't have to. And then parabola. I don't know if they really call it standard graphing form. Probably don't. Here's a good one. So there's some parabola forms too. I don't know why it's dark in the background. So anyway, you guys spend the rest of the time either on the worksheet if you want to, or on Desmos. The biggest thing about Desmos is that you want to be able to save it, which there is a save button. Don't come in and say, well, I had my entire project done, but I didn't save it. Make sure you save it, and then also make sure you're logged in, like I'm logged in there. Make sure you're logged in so that you have that project. And if you start doing a project and you don't get very far in it and you hate it, then do a different project. You can figure out how to put in clip art super easy. You can organize your stuff in folders. You can do tables. That's how you do regression on here. I just don't remember how to do it. There's a lot of things you can do on here. And you can look on the internet, but you do not cheat off of somebody else's work. Understood? All right.
What does it do?
So I don't have the due date exactly because I need to kind of figure out what is going on after spring break. If we are back at school after spring break, it's probably going to be due sooner because I will be able to help you. So I would say probably 2 to 3 weeks after spring break. That's my guesstimation of when the due date would be. Okay? You do not have to work on this all spring break. You will work on this Friday. Okay, you need a picture. You need to get it in, unless you're doing it from scratch. Some people didn't put a picture in, they just made up their picture. But you need to get a picture in there. You can contact me if you get stuck. Contact me if you have questions. But really, Google and YouTube has so much information out there that if you want to know how to do something on Desmos, like how I looked up how to rotate an ellipse, it's out there. So there's a lot of helpful information that you can find.